Okay, we will call to order our regular Board of Directors meeting for Fair Recreation Park District. So if you all stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Jen, the roll call, please.
Chair Irwin.
Here.
Director Tamani. Here. Director O'Farrell.
Here.
Let the record reflect.
Here for now.
Director Carhart and Vice Chair Mills are absent.
Wonderful, thank you. And it looks like we do have a special presentation for our wonderful and distinguished honorable director, John O'Farrell.
And soon to be former director.
So we have a certificate here for you, John,
Alright,
of recognition, and that's not even appropriate for the amount of service you've given the district, the community, the staff, and your enthusiasm for and the love of parks. You're a user of the parks.
right.
And
I thank you. Now you're gonna have to indulge me.
Please.
Oh,
Okay. So, I'm gonna give you a little bit of history. So I've been on the board almost 21 years. My 20 plus year tenure on the board began in 2006 with the midterm resignation of Cynthia Marks. I expressed an interest in succeeding her to fill out the unexpired term. I was appointed to the board. Fast forward, I was reelected in all ensuing elections. During my 20 years, there were good and bad administrators and great ones. You, soon to be you, and and good and bad administrators and good and bad boards. So anyway, the current board, Delinda, Raymond, James, Darren, Ralph, with Mike's leadership, is the best board in my judgment to ever serve Fair Oaks. I'm proud of how we have worked together, especially the recruitment of our new administrator. And back in 2017 and 2018, when we all banded together to support the passage of Measure J and the creation of this beautiful facility for generations to enjoy for many years. You know, this is a little bit more personal. As an aside, my wife and I had our entire family with us over the weekend. 4 parents, 6 grandchildren. We had dinner at the brew pub. Then we walked to the Roost for ice cream. Then we ended up in the park from 8 o'clock to 10 p.m. 10 p.m. My oldest granddaughter has Guillain-Barré syndrome. So the ADA stuff there, she was in her wheelchair, but we took her to the top of the slide and she slid down it 3 times. She has not been able to, she barely walks. So anyway, so the kids, they climbed, they swang, they slid, and just generally had a great time. I will never forget that night. So this is it for me. I will be officially resigned when the board adjourns. I wish you all, the board, the staff, and you, Aaron, with your new challenge, you know, the best of everything. Last thing, you can probably catch up with me on the American River Bike Trail on my bike, weekly walking at Sailor Bar, golfing at Ansel Hoffman, or almost any time at the brew pub. Thanks for tolerating my off-the-cuff comments, especially Ralph. You weren't here, so anyway, that's it. All done.
Well, it's been a pleasure to serve with you, John.
You too, all of you guys. I mean,
Thank you for what
it was, it's been a long time coming. I mean, that's, my theory is we all want to serve in local government, but there's a time and a place when you need to say, I'm done. And it's, you know, after 21 years, because of there's that new group in Fair Oaks that are promoting people to run for local elected positions. This is gonna give, I don't know, maybe you'll get 3 or 4 different people that want to fill this position. So anyway, they'll be as good as me, but probably better.
Big shoes to fill.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Mhm.
Agreed. Well then, let's move to audience and public comment on any non-agendized items. So I know we have a comment on an agendized item, so if there's anybody that wishes to speak on anything that is not on our agenda, now would be the time. Is there anybody online who wishes to speak? No, appears not. Doesn't appear we have anybody here, so we'll move on from public comment. And we'll go to the consent calendar. May I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent, so now we are going to move into closed session and I'll need a motion for that as well.
I'll make a motion to move into closed session.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful, so if everybody can please leave the room and we'll call you all back shortly. Thank you. Okay, wonderful. So we were in closed session. We are now in open session. There's nothing that we have to report from that. And so we will now move into new business. And we will go into 9.1, discussion and possible action on approval of a contract with our new district administrator.
There is no staff report associated with this. I attached the contract that was agreed to by the board and the new administrator, Eric Roberts. And now we just need your official approval, and then it will go to you, Chair Irwin, for signature.
Great. Did anybody have any questions, comments? I don't. Great. I did not either. Aaron, we're very excited to have you. Thank you for being with us tonight, and we're really looking forward to getting to work with you.
Thank you. I am as well.
So then I will entertain a motion to approve the contract as it is written with our new district administrator, Aaron Robertson.
I'll make the motion to approve the contract with the district administrator.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Welcome aboard. We will swiftly move along to 9.2, discussion and possible action of approval of district administrator designee to serve as chief executive officer of the Fair Oaks Recreation and Arts Foundation.
Thank you. I'm asking for approval for myself to be able to designate Jen Schuler, the Arts and Entertainment Manager, to serve as the CEO of the Fair Oaks Recreation and Arts Foundation effective June 17th, right after this meeting. The foundation, as you recall, the CEO is the board, the district administrator or designee. To not be the district administrator, it requires this board's approval of my recommendation for Jen Schuler to be the CEO. Jen is familiar with the foundation. She knows the operational pieces of a foundation, and she's familiar with the district. This gives a chance to the new district administrator to focus on the other elements necessary for the operation of the district. He then could, or so desires, come back to the board and say, I'd like to undesignate, if that's the right term, and do that. But in the interim period, no matter what, and even if it went longer, I believe that Jen Schuler is an excellent choice for the CEO for that. There's no financial impact on this, and as I mentioned, it does require board approval.
And so, Mike, was there a reason more so than what you just stated as far as not having Aaron be in that position?
It's just primarily at this point in time because the foundation is brand new, for the consistency of the facilities, programs, services with the district, in the best interest of the district, to have somebody who is more familiar throughout this process until, again, there's a real catch-up period. That determination redetermines.
Yeah. I can't speak for Director Carhart because he's obviously he's not here. He and I serve on the foundation board together along with some.
I'm sorry, and I needed to mention, thank you, Director, for reminding me. This was brought up to the foundation. They did say they would, and you, but
I was cool here at that point.
but they did say that they were fine with that approach if this board approved it. So.
Yeah, I have a couple of hesitations. My main hesitation is just having and I'd love your thoughts on it or anybody else's thoughts on it, having a staff lead for the Fair Oaks Rec and Park District in that role with two board members of the district that's also on foundation. I guess I just have a little bit of worry of perhaps overlap or not wanting there to be any oversight that, with the directors overseeing a staff person, if that makes sense. That was my only concern.
Yeah, I kind of if I can paraphrase it,
Please.
Concerned about the designee that we're recommending may not have feel like the district's full backing.
No, just more so, how you report to us, they report to you, and we don't go and tell them things to do. So I guess just having that chain of command, worrying about that being a bit pierced. and not, and worried that that could get a little bit muddy.
Yeah, with the two board members on the foundation board, I believe that oversight is still in place. Because the reporting still has to come through this district, this board, from the CEO and the two board members.
Okay.
That's my thought.
Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely would though prefer that, Aaron, once you are up to speed, I would prefer you to be the point person and the CEO of it. I think that does make the most sense. I'm open to your suggestion for now, but I would prefer it to be more of a temporary aspect than, you know, say that would be my.
My only concern, and I don't think it's a concern that would come to fruition, but I just want to make sure that there's a solid communication between Doug Zigney and Aaron. And so I imagine that I don't know how you will do your operational like check-ins with your management team, but I just want to make sure that that is part of the conversation, that you are getting regular updates on what is happening with the foundation. And with that, I'm comfortable with it, as long as everyone is communicating with each other.
Yeah. First of all, I have complete confidence, even just in such a few hours with Jen. She's a true professional, and I do have a lot to learn from her, and as well as the other management staff out here, and I hear your caution, I hear your concern, and we our offices, we can't help but see each other when we come out of our offices, and we will have regular management meetings and regular one-on-ones. I say regular, I haven't set tempo yet in terms of the pace, but we will all be meeting and communicating. It's going to be one of my top priorities is communication.
Thank you.
Great. Yes. Okay. Anything, Director? Okay. Then I will entertain a motion to approve the district administrator designee to serve as the CEO of the Fair Oaks Recreation and Arts Foundation.
Your turn to limit.
So moved.
Moved, and is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Moving on to 9.3, discussion and possible action regarding the board and staff engagement event request for board direction.
Thank you. Thank you. This is more of a directive than, unless you desire to make it a board action, but it's gives us some staff to work on. Director or Chair Irwin had expressed an interest in organizing an opportunity for the board members and staff to interact in an informal setting. And to do that, we want to make certain that a couple of things happen. One, that we won't violate the Brown Act by conducting any type of district business during that social event, if you will. If it's something more than a social event, then we would need to notice it through a general meeting as we normally would do, and it would be open to the public and all of that. So I want to make certain that that is one piece of it, and that is what you so desire. The other thing is the kind of the purpose for the event for the staff's. Why do they want to go? What are they going to do? Type of thing. And then the timing of the event, when's it going to occur, workday, evening, things like that. And then is it mandatory, which would be a challenge, or is it optional, which may still be a challenge because people have lives. And so either one is just which way we go with that, and the potential date, and as I mentioned, time and location of that. So we're just looking for those types of things. And if the participation by staff would be voluntary or mandatory would require pay, of course. And then the pay would, timing on pay would be, if you're paid time, evening, may be kind of hard for some of the folks, especially those that never work evenings. Morning, daytime would be hard for some of those that never work in the mornings. So if we required it and paid them to go. So that is what we want, just some direction so we can follow through. I think it's a wonderful idea. It's just, we don't want to get caught with something that the board didn't really want to or intend to do.
Right. well, considering this was my idea, I would just want to clarify for the board, clarify for the team, staff. My whole idea around this was it's a transition time, governance, relationship building, the continuity during leadership transition, I think is really important. And for me, the goal is really about strengthening our communication, fostering trust with our whole team, the district, the board, and helping the board better understand and support the team that serves our community every day. So there was going to be no evaluation of individual employees, no discussion of personnel matters, purely informational relationship building, especially valuable, I truly believe, during a leadership transition. And my idea was that it's open to whoever wishes to come. It's not mandatory at all, and I would love for the staff to propose a couple of times that they would prefer, and then give a couple of options, and then have come back to the board, and for the board to be able to choose what could work best for us as well. But you know, there's so much we don't know of what everybody does, and I think it's just such a great time, in my view, to really hear from you guys, talk with you all, socialize with you all, and honestly, you know, hear what you're excited about for this new chapter. We have a huge new chapter in front of us, and I really want to hear from you all. You know, of what you like, what you're wanting, how you're enjoying the positions you're in now, and it's all totally voluntary. But I think it's a good opportunity for us to have some more time together without any worry or feeling of what you can say or can't say.
I second voluntary. I refuse to force anyone to hang out with me. There's that. And then, also, I'd be fine with something simple. I mean, it could
Yeah.
be easily like an hour before an event starts in the amphitheater or something, and just hang out in a space. And then people want to stay for the comedy show or the music, you can stay. Or, you know, Jen is usually working on those evenings, but I don't know, something. I'd be fine with something simple. I don't want this to be an elaborate thing that takes
No.
a lot of time. So simpler, better.
You bring up a good point about, you know, it sounds really neat to be in the amphitheater, but there's a whole crew of staff that.
I know.
Yeah, absolutely slammed right before that, yeah.
Yes, so that's
That's
probably
It's a great idea,
too
but
much
just,
ask.
yeah.
When I worked for Sacramento County, the Board of Supervisors would meet with the management staff twice a year, and it would be an off-site thing. And the other thing that I did with my staff, I would take them on a ropes course. You know, we'd go up into the foothills, and you know, and get to know one another. You know, and so I mean, all of them. You know, what your idea is great, and all the more interaction that you have a chance to create that's the best for the organization.
Well, and I really, again, with this transition, want to make sure the staff, the team knows that we really do value them, value you all, and we care and want to hear you.
So I think if we summarize these statements, I think Aaron's taking care of that. He summarizes the statements and then begin working on them for you. So I'll see if you get a summary. I think so, yeah, okay. Thank you all.
Wonderful. Then let's move on to discussion possible action on the fiscal year 26-27 general fund 348 primary budget.
Yes, this is our preliminary budget for next fiscal year, which begins on July 1. You will have an opportunity following this in August to make any adjustments that you want to make for final budget. So this is just preliminary. We did meet as a staff with the Finance and Budget Committee last Thursday, and we have incorporated Chair or Vice Chair Mounce's comments since he could not be here tonight. And Dr. Tamani is also on that committee. So Ian, can you pull up there we go. So the first few slides, Mike wanted to kind of give an overview of the budget this year before we get into the details.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I have the clicker.
Oh, yeah.
That's okay. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Why are these budget adjustments necessary? We are in what's called a structural deficit. You probably, if you've heard any news on the local area, or even California, in 8 public agencies, almost everybody is in a structural deficit. What that means is that our revenues are not pacing with our expenditures. And some of those are fixed. Our revenues fixed being our assessed valuations and our assessment districts. Our main expenditures, being salary, the items associated with the salaries, which include healthcare and retirement, all those other things. And then also the utilities, gasoline, services, supplies, all of those are above a 4%. Some of them are a lot higher than 4%. Our assessed valuations are tentatively projected to be 4.4% at that. And so we're not keeping up, and unearned revenue is helping, but it's not going to close that gap. And that's true of any public entity here. So we're there in that predicament of things. So some of the key things about it, as I mentioned, property tax and assessment district revenues continue to increase, but not increase at the level necessary. Personnel, healthcare, utilities, fuel, and contracted services costs are increasing faster. And then supplies and services are rising by 3 to 4%. These all are ongoing pressures on the operating budget. And that, as I mentioned, too many California districts are going that. So, a couple of things that we want to invest in, and you have invested, the new facilities are opened. That's something that happened. During that time frame after we opened, we went into a conflict with another country, which caused some additional inflationary pressure on the things that we do. And so those were not predicted when we opened the facilities and began subsidizing to some extent. You knew that you would be subsidizing these facilities for a little while, but you didn't know you'd be subsidizing general operations of our entire district. Staffing and programs have been added for the arts and entertainment already, and we needed those things to get going, and they're all under the AMS report. We're still within the boundaries of that for our growth. And then the marketing and community awareness to get the public to know about this facility is something that we have to do, and to get them to show up for these things. It is growing, the revenue is growing, and it's doing the right things. It is on the projection, it is beating the AMS projections for the facility. It is doing a wonderful job, but it is still a new program and still requires assistance. And then the long-term stability of that, as I mentioned, is in progress. It will reach its objectives because we're seeing that with the community and the community's response and the programming and the services that the Arts and Entertainment Division is doing. We strategically invested in the Arts and Entertainment Division. That was a strategic move, knowing that it was still going to be an impact financially for a few years. The Measure J facilities require additional staffing and operational support. This park itself and the buildings themselves require maintenance. That's a little different than any of our other maintenance and services that we provide in other areas, as it should. This is a prime facility, so it needs to have that extra love. The startup expenses occurred immediately. There was no ramping up for startup. You don't ramp up sound, lighting, tech. You don't ramp that up. It has to be ready on day one. And then the revenue growth takes time to develop as we go. It is developing, it's going the right way. Projections are showing that. And again, because of the quality of programs and services that Arts and Entertainment is doing, it is doing what it should be doing. So the current trends are encouraging. So we want to build that sustainable budget, and I have to open up
Can't see
I
that.
have to open up my stuff. I cannot read that. Sorry. What's that?
It's a little blurry.
Let's see. I just got it. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, obviously. Thank you very much. So we would to build that sustainable budget, that's what we want over time. And so making adjustments with staff is the ongoing process with the new facility, understaffed, overstaffed, things like that. Those get in using volunteers, that gets in, all those adjustments are occurring, and they're gonna continue to occur for probably another year. What we've done, also is we've reduced our program expenditures, in the budget. This is for the overall budget as well. And when I talk about staff adjustments, going back to the first one, we're talking about, potential staff reductions, if the board approves this. And we are going to reduce our expenditures. We're reducing discretionary spending on this budget, so any discretionary spending is reduced or eliminated completely. And then we're looking at the revenue growth, and some of the revenue growth areas I mentioned, the arts and entertainment programming, as well as the facility rentals. Those two arms right there of our revenue will be substantial in time. It takes time to get them going. You don't fill the clubhouse immediately with birthday parties. It takes time. And then the sponsorships and partnerships, including those that would give us additional funds for sponsored shows and other partners coming in and doing shows with us or performances. And for us, we'll want to monitor these expenditures on a monthly budget review internally. We'll want to do that mid-year evaluation that you'll be doing here as a board. And then we want to do that revenue tracking and catch these things early if they're not tracking appropriately to be sustainable. And then that long-term stability that we want will preserve our core services. Look at parks, they don't recover cost, but yet it has a core service that we have to have. And we want to make certain that we do that. And we need to protect our reserves. We cannot blow through our reserves. That is also for the bond rating that we have. And it's also just good fiscal management. And you have done as a board an amazing job to make that happen. And we don't want to waste that years and years of being that conservative and holding those reserves in place. And then it positions us for future growth. So that's what this budget's going to be doing. And Jen's going to take it from there and give you the fiscal numbers.
Okay, so we'll start by talking, thank you, about our expenses. Yep. Thanks. So our salaries and benefits, as we mentioned, we did propose some staff reductions. If those are approved, and with the decrease in the district administrator salary, we're looking at a $90,000 reduction over last fiscal year and proposed budget. We are looking to increase our extra help, however, our part-time staff, we need that to run our programs and create the revenue that we're gonna need. We're also assuming a 3% minimum wage increase in January. I haven't heard anything about it yet, but I am assuming it's gonna happen. And then, of course, we have the fully operational arts and entertainment program now, which we have discovered along the way needs a lot of staff. Our group benefits, with the staffing changes, we will see a decrease there. We don't know the rates yet, so that will come back to you in final budget. I don't know what that's going to look like. There may be less of a savings there, depending on what the CalPERS rates are when they're released. Retiree health, we're not proposing a trust contribution this year, which you've been doing for the last few years. And then our retirement is also tied to the staffing changes. So with that reduction, we'll see a decrease in retirement costs. So overall, it's a 4% reduction over last year. Typically, we see a 5% increase. So overall, this is about a 9% reduction. Okay. Services and supplies. There were a lot of reductions. Our staff was commendable this year in how they went through their budgets and really reduced as much as they possibly could without impacting the core services, like Mike said. Between arts and entertainment and recreation, they reduced their program costs over $141,000. Recreation has been well used to doing everything on a shoestring budget, and this year is not any different. And so kudos to you guys. Sean was able to negotiate no increase for our landscape contract for next year, which is going to save us a significant amount of money. There's, I think, what, a 3% increase built into the contract, which we're not going to have to pay. We're eliminating the printing and mailing of the activity guide. We have not seen enough of an impact to registration to make that $30,000 cost worth it. We may go back to it at some point. We've done both in the last few years. The Garden Gala now is being mostly budgeted in the foundation. We don't have to, the district support it less, so there's a reduction of cost there. The recreation department is no longer going to be doing softball, tell me, Nick. Every time.
Either having some of the organization take over our softball program or potentially dissolve it, because the rental is generating more revenue than us running.
So that means we won't be paying for umpires. So there's a reduction. And then of course, we're not going to be recruiting for a new administrator. So that's another reduction from last year. A few increases. Our marketing will increase about $20,000 over last year. And that is just with some additional work that they'll be doing. Electricity, as we have seen, the cost for that has increased significantly with the opening of the new facility. So we've budgeted appropriately this year. So that's a $40,000 increase. Some of that is offset by the revenue that we see from the EV charging stations. I did not include that here, but that is included in the parks revenue budget. Internet, that has significantly increased just because we have the new center and the fiber, I think it's fiber, right? Yeah, that has just increased significantly. And then rental equipment, that's for technical equipment that we need for productions and all the things that they're planning to do this year. So total reduction overall is about a 2% decrease over last year, about $50,000. Okay. So our revenues, property tax increase is assumed at 4%. That's about $93,000. That was as of the last assessed valuation report that we received. Our assessment districts have a 3% CPI built in for 2 of them. So that's about a $37,000 increase overall. No increase to our Phoenix field, so that stays flat. Our recreation program revenue, they have estimated a $16,000 increase over last year's budget. Our arts and entertainment revenue, now that they have some data under their belt, their revenues have decreased over last year, but that $208,000 is really, I think, the Broadway show that Jen had thought was going to happen, and that would have brought in that much last year, so we're taking that out this year. Facility rental revenues are doing really well, and so we're anticipating an $88,000 increase. There's just been a lot of demand. And then our interest and investment earnings have increased significantly over the last few years, and we're assuming a $50,000 increase based on those actuals. So overall, a $76,000 increase in revenues. Other sources of funding, that's our fund balance. We are requesting from that fund balance a rollover of our contingency for $50,000. We're requesting $60,000 for potential election costs if we do need to have an election that's on the ballot. It would be nice to save that money. And then $60,000 from fund balance for the district administrator's termination payout and any additional costs incurred or other termination payouts that we have to do. So total, that's $170,000 from fund balance. Our fund balances right now, our reserve fund is at $560,000. That has not changed. Our carry forward fund is at $1.4 million. Our 3 assessment districts have a fund balance, $215,000 in the large one, $51,000 in Phoenix, and $120,000 in Gum Ranch. And impact fees sit at $1 million right now, and our in lieu fees are at about $300,000. I think they've been reduced a little bit since I put this together. So overall, $3.5 million in savings. A lot of that money is restricted to specific things that we can spend. So it's not available just for operations. And that is the end of the presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I do have some questions.
Yeah.
I hope you all shoot. Humor me. Wrote them all down. So for the structural deficit, what is the projected structural deficit or gap over the next 3 to 5 years? Do we have that? And you know, or what does that look like if we don't make any additional changes?
For the next few years. I don't have that, so that would, you know, we can assume a 3 to 4% increase to our taxes. The goal is to not have the structural deficit going forward.
Exactly.
And so that is why we're proposing the budget that we're proposing this year.
However, with what what you're proposing this year, it does include though, like a stopgap measure of taking money from the reserves, so.
For one-time expenses, so.
I guess my
not
concern though is, but what's to say next year? Like, how is the situation gonna be different next year where we're not asked again for that one time amount?
I can't say, when we have one-time expenses come up, we do typically ask to take it out of the fund balance because it's not something that is going to be an ongoing operational cost, I guess. So if we do find ourselves in the position next year where we're having to do termination payouts, then, I don't know,
Gotcha.
that would probably come back again.
So how much will we have in the fund balance remaining if we,
If you do that,
yeah,
you'll have 1.15 million.
okay, we'll have 1.15 million, okay. Just looking at the other questions. I noticed a 57% jump in workers' comp. I was trying to understand what that was coming from. Is it just so many more additional part-time employees?
Yes.
And the rating on that?
It is
just
that, it's that, and then the rates, you know, have increased for all of our different various insurance that we have to carry. That number usually I tend to estimate high,
Yeah,
and then we see it reduced in final budget. Last year, we ended up paying an extra 7,000, I think, because we underestimated, so I'm trying to avoid that.
and then I know there are some proposed reductions as it comes to certain staffing changes. Is there any services impact that the board should be aware of when it comes to that?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. And the electricity, I know you mentioned it, that's a huge part of the new, I mean, that was 65%. That
Yeah,
blew my mind.
It was a large jump.
Have we talked at all with SMUD, with Brandon, as far as anything, any program that we might be able to benefit from or anything in that regards?
Sean, can chime in where Sean is.
I've looked into programs available. They're typically, from what I've seen, one-time programs for moving away from gas and electrifying things.
Right.
I haven't seen anything for just reducing rates based off usage. I can dig deeper,
I
but
think it would just be fair to look into that to see if there is something, because I mean, clearly our usage must be it has to be very high with that huge of an increase. So I mean, it does make me wonder if there might be a special program that we might not be aware of or that potentially we could take advantage of.
I can certainly dig into it.
I think that'd be amazing. Do we have, and just thinking of now, we have these amazing facilities, when it comes to the energy that we are now utilizing, do we have any energy efficient measures in place or a policy around energy efficiency?
The items that we put in, you know, are obviously the most efficient you could buy at the time. But there is a huge cost, and Jen, you know this better than anybody, in regards to the productions, and what that does to the electrical bill.
If I can also add into that, there were options to do a green or LEED certified building during construction,
Yeah.
but that would have probably jumped our construction budget by.
I'm sure.
So the cost savings might have been the long term
Right.
panned out, but we didn't have the funding
Yeah.
to see that.
That does kind of bring me to another point with the shows. Especially if it's, I mean, I know if we're booking it, that's one thing, but if it's an outside vendor wanting to use it, have we put into cost recovery these new energy costs, or can we plan to do that? Because I mean,
as we come into the new fees, which is next
Yeah.
month or so, we'll up those, but.
Cause that's
just
the
set it
biggest
to
thing I'm
the
thinking of is the fees, adjusting that, because obviously if the energy is going up, I think it's a very, very fair thing to do. And it's a phenomenal facility and we're very reasonable.
And if I can also add on to that,
Please.
we have been tracking very closely the energy costs of the new facilities, which we'll be utilizing to do cost recovery methods in conjunction with all the other departments here.
Great.
We've got the data now, we've now had it open for a significant amount of time, and
Awesome.
we're paying attention.
Awesome, Sean. Thank you. For the AME expenses, what's the percentage that is being recovered through earned revenue?
Ooh, that's a Jamie question.
We can find that out later, but I would like to know
Yes.
that. And obviously I know it's not 100%,
Yeah.
but I mean, that is though eventually
The goal
where we
is
want
for
to be.
OPEB to completely cover itself. And
Right.
That's my mission. If it's like an A&E like class or, free activity or something like that, that's more district based.
Right,
Then that's the seventy, but that's the goal
Right.
is that should. cover
Awesome.
itself.
agreed. And I think that was all of our.
Yes.
That was
It'll
all.
take some time, but that's the plan.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it would be good though to know what the percentage is currently.
I think with this proposed budget, I want to say that the cost recovery was at 57%.
I got myself to almost 60.
You did, yeah. Jamie was very focused on cost recovery this year, and I know that Aaron has made that his objective.
Do we have any potential timeline on when we should see that it is at 100%?
Oh,
What was the A&E report? 7 years? I
I
think.
don't remember what they said, but I mean,
7-year itch.
yeah, 4 to 7, I
Yeah, I
was
think
hoping you start to really see that trend.
Okay. Great. And then the software system technology investments that drove up the data processing by 57%, was that mostly the internet, the new additional internet usage?
it was
You
that, plus
mentioned-
we also brought online some additional software programs for A&E. So their Momentous contract that you all approved, and then
Okay.
was there another one? VBO ticketing.
The ticketing, yeah, that's what that cost is. we pay per ticket fees to have our software. And as we sell more tickets, that goes up.
But we charge our,
We charge the patron for that.
Okay,
We've got
making-
budgeted. in.
understood, got it.
So we want that number to be high, but we also don't.
Yeah, exactly.
For the contributions, for OPEB that we're not doing this year, skipping that, what impact does that have in our long-term liability? And is this intended to just be a 1-time thing or an ongoing practice?
When you all approved the contributions, there was it was a kind of a pay as you go. So the years that we could do it,
Okay.
we've been doing it. You can opt to take that out of your fund balance and move that into the trust if that's what you would like to do. We will get a report next month from our actuarial valuation folks that will talk about that OPEB liability. So, and it actually has come down.
Okay.
So I'll have her talk about what would happen if we did not do the contribution.
Well, and the way I understand it, and the reason we started doing it was that, one, it's like another savings account. So like Jen said, we can remove that money, whenever we would like. It's still it doesn't have restrictions on it.
Yeah.
What's nice about putting money in that account is that it significantly helps our credit rating. And because it drops the OPEB, the liability. And so it's one of those things that when, credit agencies are looking at entities, there's a lot of entities do not contribute at all to their OPEB. So, yeah, so even though we're not doing it this year, I'm okay with that. I was a big proponent of like, we need to put something in every year. But given this situation, I would rather not put money there and then, and make cuts somewhere else. So.
Okay. What the 20,000, since we're getting rid of the mailer, what's the 20,000 going to for the marketing specifically?
It's additional marketing, social media. I don't know what else.
Additional marketing services, yeah.
I'd like
It's to cover what we're.
to see that in detail specifically with that. It's-
under that.
I'd like to see that,
Is
yeah.
that a print item or market?
Say that
Is
again.
that print?
It didn't say.
Okay, because we are looking
It
to
says
still
additional
create
marketing
postcard,
services. Yeah.
mailer to all MSNs in lieu of the full activity guide. So there is an expense there for the postage and the postcard.
Okay. Well, whatever the 20,000 is
additional.
referenced to, that's what I want to see
Okay.
specifically. And for the selling banister, we didn't discuss it.
We did
but
not
it's
discuss
in
that.
there, but for the, sorry, it's in there, so, but the selling Bannister Park in the old library, what is the financial problem that we would solve through selling those assets? And did you all have any discussion on the estimated value or annual carrying cost of those
No,
properties?
it was a very, just pie in the sky. What could we do right now? We needed more funds
More quick.
immediately. What do we want to get rid of? And
Well,
Bannister and the old library were the first
Yeah.
two things that came up, but it was kind of more of a hodgepodge, just like brainstorming type
yeah.
moment. We did not,
Well, and I think once we get to another item in the agenda,
Yes.
that made me, when I saw this and that, it made me really, think about
Sure.
what that's look like, but.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, so I thought that was interesting, but was the idea though, just more on adding to our reserves?
Well, and also reducing expenses,
Okay.
because there are expenses that go into taking care of Bannister, and then also the old library, maintaining it, putting
The
on.
maintenance is a
yeah.
lot for that.
So I think those were two of the considerations, so.
Did staff have any, when that was brought up, is there any thoughts?
One of the concerns in selling public property
Yes.
is the restrictions that we have under California law that we have to follow before to sell public property. That would probably include, I don't know about buildings, I suspect it would be the same, that we'd have to follow those regulations and laws that the California does require us to do. And so,
And what's?
for an example, the property, I know Bannister, one of the things that first it goes to other public entities who may want it. County may want it, for an example, in Bannister, that's an example. But then if they don't want it after a certain period of time, then it goes out to the affordable housing. Anybody who is
Really?
building affordable housing has the right to pay market value. for
I'd
it.
go over big.
Yeah, to pay market value. They don't, it's like they can't get into a bidding war, it would be market value. Then after those two considerations are, then it can go out to the.
Interesting, okay. Well, great, well, thank you for humoring me, those are all my questions. Does anybody else have any other questions or
I
discussion?
just have a quick comment on the resolution for the general fund. I think there, one of the numbers was transposed on the type, or total, sorry.
total.
It's listed as 4.4 million, I think it's 4.2,
Okay, I'll make that change.
yeah, but that's all.
I'll send it for signature.
But when you and Director Mounts, any other just thoughts on the budget or feelings?
We recognized how hard this was for everyone to put together, and I wish that it was easier, but this is just not an easy time. It's not an easy time for us. It's not an easy time for really any public agency or
Or business, I mean,
organization.
obviously.
Yeah, it's been rough across the board, and so yeah, I just really thank you to the staff that worked really hard to put together this budget. So. Yeah.
Well, is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak on this item?
So you have a fair,
Yeah, especially for budget.
you had a fair point, Raymond, about you were asking in subsequent years, what if we're in the same situation next year? And it sounds like from the presentation, the problem's really on the cost side. Costs are like way out of control and inflation. And it reminded me of the 1970s or the early 1980s. Okay, inflation was like out of control. And so essentially from a park district, you're kind of thinking, what do we do if we're in this a year from now or 2 years from now? Don't know, nobody has a crystal ball, we can't predict, what's gonna happen with inflation. And insurance stuff has been like out of control for many years, this isn't anything new, but it continues to get out of control. The discussion last week about like Bannister, for me, that takeaway was that, okay, that's a long-term thing and there's a lot of other considerations. So that wouldn't, bring in anything time soon, probably not a lot of money anyway. But yeah, I think it's a fair point about what happens a year from now or 2 years from now. And because it is, anybody who was around at those times, very difficult considerations.
Yeah, no, it's true, and it's, you have to figure out the funds and you have to figure out what would we have to cut, and obviously we don't wanna cut park services, we don't wanna cut recreation, so I mean, I think this budget does a good job for this year of meeting the stopgap, but I do think it's something that we have to be paying a lot of attention to ensure that this isn't something that, okay, next year we're saying the same thing, if we're seeing that, we need to have, big alarm signs going on, and
Yes.
we need to get deep. Figure that out, so.
And we talked last Thursday about just brainstorming ideas about bringing in more revenue. And like as I was driving there, I was thinking, oh, like art and wine festivals. I don't know if those are still a thing, or craft festivals like at Christmas time and that kind of stuff. The other thing that I thought about too would be electricity increase in costs. And I don't know if Sean, if SMUD like commits to certain rate increases at certain points in time, do they have to give notification to, 60 days in advance, 6 months, I don't know, all that kind of stuff. But sometimes contracts are written, you're probably familiar with, sometimes the company will say like a gas surcharge or something like that. So that kind of stuff in a contract language, needs to be very clearly called out. And then how it would be calculated later on, so it's not gonna be popular from an event perspective, for people holding events, if they've got this unknown cost possibly hanging out there, that, what do you mean, I might have another invoice later on that I have to pay, but that might be a way to give more protection to the board, to the park district. Like an electricity, just like a company, just a gas surcharge, like a movie company or something
Sure.
like that, so electricity surcharge. Yeah, if the rates, continue to go up a lot.
I'm happy to talk about it, what is up, the public comment period, we talked about that, that's determined. But it's not based on a contract or anything like that, it's just rates set by SMUD.
Right, and so I don't know, like, does SMUD have committed points in time with the thank you notifications about rate increases?
Well, why don't we talk about it soon, I can tell
Yeah.
you all about
Okay, that's.
Yeah, they do, it's a whole, they have a whole thing, but thank you.
Those are all my big.
No, thank you, I appreciate it, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the budget?
I'll make a motion to approve, the preliminary budget. Should I go ahead and do the resolution as well? Okay, so my motion is to approve resolution number 061726-02, 03, and 04.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So then we will move on to 9.5, discussion and possible action to approve the preliminary budget for the bond.
We still have a bond fund. So this is really just the final invoices that I've budgeted that we know are outstanding. We know we're going to be seeing the grant from Representative Barrett's office come in to offset those costs, and then the rest of it, I believe we still have some cash in the bank, so that should cover both of those things. And we're just asking you to approve this hopefully final fund budget.
Motion in order?
I think so. Does anybody have any discussion? No. Okay.
Yeah, adopt resolution number 061726-05, approving the preliminary bond budget for fiscal year 26-27.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. And we'll move on to 9.6, discussion possible action on intent to levy assessments for the fiscal year of 26 and 27.
Yes, so this is our annual process that you all are familiar with. This is where you all approve the engineer reports that were attached to your report. Those are prepared by SCI, which is a contracted company each year. And then based on those, they tell us what the assessment rates should be. We adopt those resolutions approving those rates. Next month, you will set the public hearing for anyone to come forward and discuss any of these, any of the rates and bring you any information that you need before you finalize it. And I believe this evening, we have Elizabeth here to, she's in the Gum Ranch Landscape and Lighting Assessment Districts, and she had some comments to add. If you have any questions about any of the assessments, I'm happy to answer those.
Yeah, before moving to public comment, does anybody on the board have any questions or anything to discuss?
Not I.
Okay, Nina. So I'll move to public comment. Ms. Elizabeth Williams, floor is yours for 30 minutes.
Okay, so I live in the Gum Ranch neighborhood and I read the engineering consultant's report. I just wanted to clarify some of the assumptions that they've used. I've been talking with Jen about that in terms of how they classify Gum Ranch as a neighborhood park. So I pulled some information off the website about features of different parks and briefly talked to Mike about it. But because their assumptions in their report affect then what their recommendations are from a budgeting perspective. And, you know, and then the percentage increase. So I'm not challenging the 3%, increase this year. I understand the budget problem, so I'm not challenging that. But what I'm looking for is more insight to how their assumptions are arrived at and also where their estimate of expenses, because I'm like, there would be a bunch of assumptions that they would apply to that. So digging into the engineering consultant's report a little more, and really for the purpose of looking at subsequent years, and I did pull my own property tax bills from past 4 years to understand what the increases have been, that kind of thing. So with this public comment is next month, it's July 15th.
Mhm.
Yeah. Did I cover everything?
I think so.
I'm not sure though, was that a comment or was there a question there as
Well, so
well?
I want to dig into the consultant's report more
Oh, gotcha.
than we're gonna be able to do on July 15th. So I think the time to do it is between now and July 15th. That's, yeah,
Sure. Yes, and
Yeah,
we will
okay.
meet, we've already planned to meet and
Okay.
we'll loop the consultant in on
Yeah.
that.
Great.
okay, that's all.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak on this budget or this agenda item? Online in person? No? Great. I think a motion is in order.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution 06-1726-06-07-08, each declaring intention to continue the levy assessments for fiscal years 26-27 and provide preliminarily approving the engineer's report and then providing notice of hearing for the Parks Maintenance and Recreation Improvement District, the Phoenix Field Landscape and Lighting Assessment District, and the Gum Ranch Landscaping and Lighting Assessment District.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
One in favor of that, right, Sean?
Yeah. We're on track.
Excellent. Okay, so let us move swiftly along to 9.7. Discussion of possible action regarding resolution proclaiming July as Parks and Recreation Month.
Yes, Ian is here to say.
Yeah.
Does that have to happen all the time? Because I've seen it in.
It happens every year.
July. Every July.
Ian will
Make
explain,
life
Ian will
better.
explain why.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, my name is Ian Roberts. I am the admin assistant to here at the district, but I also sit on one of the CPRS district boards, District 2, which is where we are all part of. One of the reasons we do all this is this is our chance to let lawmakers know, both in state and federal, that we are a large group, we are a huge community, and our voices are important. I know National Parks and Recreation does something similar and gets it out there, but this is our chance to let government know that, hey, we're here, this is important, and funding for parks is an amazing thing to do, and we need more money to do these things. So this is the reason like we put our name on there. So I just want to always reference that and make sure that we're aware.
That's great to me. It's terrific.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 06-1726-09, recognizing July as Parks and Recreation Month.
Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 9.8, let's discuss and possibly have action regarding the old library renovation fund transfer request.
Good evening, Board of Directors. I continue to persist to be Sean Ventura, Parks and Facilities.
Excellent.
So this is a request for transfer of funds from our in lieu funds, our dedication fees for funding the old library renovation project. This is a project already approved by the board, it's part of our capital improvement plan. We're simply requesting that we use different funds than we had originally planned to. As you've seen from previous presentations to the board, we're in a difficult time as a district, and we have to get a little bit creative. So we are requesting to use these funds, which are a restricted fund, for an appropriate person, for an appropriate purpose, apologies, to fund the remainder of this project. The board had originally approved, I believe, $191,000 for the overall project. We have scaled back the project a little bit, to just cover replacing the roof, which is already accomplished, and we'll be sending off that approved invoice fairly soon. During that process, they discovered lead paint on the eaves of that roof and needed mitigation to that effect. Also, due to the deferred maintenance on the roof, we experienced some mold infestation throughout the facility. We are seeking these funds to cover mitigation of that and repair of those mitigation efforts. And also to install a new HVAC system in that facility, which it currently lacks. The roof is beautiful if you haven't seen it. When you walk out of this room, take a look at that building, it looks great. But it's too hot to look in right now. So if we want to continue having that as offices for staff, we will need to install a new HVAC system in there. So we are simply asking to use new funds to cover those remaining costs, and we will be eliminating the proposed interior renovations. All told, the total of the remainder of work we're proposing would equal about, I believe, $119K. That would be the total, not what we're requesting to transfer. We're only requesting to transfer from about 54K. That's down from the 191 that we had originally proposed for the capital improvement project. And Jennifer's presentation earlier already listed that fund at the reduced rate from this proposed transfer, so that wouldn't even reduce any of the rates that you saw from the budget presentation as well. That's pretty much all I have on the topic. Any questions?
Sean, I do. How many staff work in that building now?
Currently, I believe on a regular basis, 1 to 2. However, when we did discover mold, we had moved staff out. We had 2 other staff working in that facility on a regular basis. I had advised that if you didn't feel comfortable working there, to either work in our district office or work remotely, and 2 of those staff took us up on that offer.
Did they decide to work remotely or?
Yes, remotely, currently. Either way, we need to get rid of the mold if we're gonna do anything with that building. But yes, all told, it was 4 working in there originally.
And down to 1 to 2, what is the percentage of time roughly that it's 1 versus 2?
I couldn't answer that question.
Do you know?
I don't know.
I do not. Nick might know a little bit more.
Once it's, once the renovation is complete, would, is the plan to continue to use it as office space, or would it be used for, because I know before it was being used for like small classes and stuff like that.
It's both.
Oh,
Oh, you can do both,
I
so
think-
there's
yeah, I
also
think we would
classes, they used to do
stay-
children's painting classes.
Yes, sorry.
We'll still be able to-
So I think we should, I think the plan is to enhance the amount of staff we have in there. We do have some, cubicle walls that we've saved from renovations to the district office that we can utilize to make a little bit more space in there, but also keep it as a rental facility as well.
Yeah, for those small public meetings that we have, FOBIC, for an example, a small public meeting. And utilize that facility for those things.
Have we looked at what it would cost us to rent another space, another room, another office space? I mean, I feel like there's so much office space available in Fair Oaks these days.
Initially, when we proposed the purchase of another office building and selling this office here in the village, the board was clear on that they wanted to see the staff working near and in around the park and not having to spread.
Mike, what about the the building next door on, just,
Yeah,
Yes.
right, yeah, well, the other one we looked at potentially buying.
right, but I mean, is there any vacant space in that building?
I do not know that. Well, there's currently no sign. How's that? There has been signs up there in the past for,
Yeah.
no space release. Currently, there's no sign. So I don't know if there's anything there.
Was there, so I mean, I don't recall if there was a reason why we would have to, or the necessity to buy versus rent, especially if it's just office spaces. Was there any specific reason? why we-
Other than the proximity is what, again, we're trying to.
Okay.
Stay.
To be honest, I'm much less, I mean, I'm these days much more open to what other options we have. Personally, I find, the library a quagmire. And I mean, I don't think, and of course, I'm always happy to be proven wrong with data, but I don't think we would have enough user groups to really need that space, especially based with all of the new facilities and the spaces we have now. And I think we probably could save a lot of money by renting other space to have employees in. I think personally for me, I think it's a good opportunity I don't really want to put more money into that. It just doesn't make sense to keep putting more money into that space. And I think it makes much more sense to sell it. I think it makes much more sense.
Director Irwin, if I may, we got to this point of having to spend this much money because we didn't put any money into it. We're at the point that we're spending a little bit more money to clean up mold because we didn't want to spend any money on the facility. We let water get into it. We tried to patch it up in-house with just operational budgets, and every effort we had didn't prevent the water from going in there, just because the age and the construction of it. We'd be probably spending 30,000 less right now if we just invested a little bit earlier. So refusing to spend money on it is making us have spent more money on it.
Well, refusing to spend more money on it and deciding to keep it, for sure.
Fair enough.
Yes.
I mean,
Well,
I'm
well,
open.
But
I'm
you
sorry.
still have to fix everything that's wrong with it before you could sell it. So what is if you fix everything and you want to sell it, what is the cost differential, or what is the property worth if it's clean?
Great question. It's a great location, so I think it could be a pretty decent sale. If we do these fixes right here that we've already proposed and approved by the board, I think it would be saleable. It's market value, and I do not know market value on what that building would be worth. It has its issues. for
But
sure.
does that include all the ADA issues as well?
No.
Okay, well, there's another cost.
I think that I like the idea of exploring the idea of selling it. I do think that because we keep talking, like, prices are going up every day. That, and given the fact that we would have multiple steps that we have to take to even get it probably on the market, we may be looking at like 6 to 9 months before we can even put it on the market. And if we wait until we don't do if we don't do the repairs now, it may be that during the inspection, the seller or the buyer wants us to do the repairs or wants to reduce the price, and we may be having to reduce the price by more than 60,000.
Well, my thinking, to be honest, though, is more, I think if somebody were to buy it, I think they'd tear it down. I think they would absolutely tear it down. So that's kind of my worry of us spending all this, because it's a tear down to me. It's an absolute tear down. I don't know what you would put there, but I wouldn't put that again.
Are there any historical designations to it?
None. So,
So I had a thought from the revenue side, and I know it would take more investment, Sean, because you were talking about the exterior renovations, the roof and the HVAC, and HVAC is expensive, but then I think interior renovations would probably still need to be done. But if there would be an opportunity to rent out the inside, not just for children's painting classes, because those wouldn't be very lucrative, maybe like a co-working space, because it is a good location, close to the village, close to, the concerts in the summertime. And I don't know what sort of activity would bring in the most revenue, if it were.
We've discussed
Yeah,
doing a commercial rental, but the problem with that, it brings us back to the ADA problem, is that in order to do it, it's not ADA.
And so how expensive it is to make it ADA compliant.
It cost us $500,000 to make the clubhouse ADA.
Well, it'll be a little bit less than that because some of them.
Well, I mean, it's much smaller, but
But
still,
still.
I just.
But not, it's still expensive. It's still expensive.
and so like what, because I mean, that would be my biggest concern. Like, I understand these new things, but if somebody's just gonna buy it to tear it down,
That's
then
nice.
I feel we.
Can I make a suggestion? This should be a full board discussion.
Yeah.
Continue it till you have, two more people or one more persons.
It would be nice though at that to have a little bit more information,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So let's table this then.
Let's do that.
Thank you, John. That's a great suggestion.
Thanks, John.
Well, I mean, you could call a real estate agent and just,
Yeah.
say, you know what,
Exactly.
come on in.
Find out. Yeah.
Get a hold of,
Like that.
Mike.
who's the
Give us a
bestseller in
evaluation
Fair
a few
Oaks?
years ago. It
Well,
needs to
we've
be a
used
commercial
Mike.
realtor.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, no, I think it would be interesting to, I think there's some things we could go, I'm happy to help the directive with that, but I think we need to get some more information in place before we vote.
If I could just add to that for the discussion tonight, there are some costs incurred that were approved, under our purchasing policy, under the amounts already approved for the district administrator for, like, the lead abatement. That is roughly a $10,000 expense that we have already approved and it has already been accomplished. So some of these costs, we haven't done the mold mitigation, we have not done the HVAC improvement, but we will still need to fund that already approved expense.
Right, so what you're saying, Sean, is some of the work's already been paid and you need the money for
Already been
it.
completed.
Been completed
Yes.
and we need to pay.
Yes,
Okay, well, do we know how much it is? Cause I mean, I'm happy
that was
for us to motion to pay what's been completed.
$10,648.95.
$10,648.90. No, I did that wrong.
Yeah.
Uh,
I need that.
$10,648.95.
Okay,
So I'll change the resolution. to that.
so it just more feel good to me. A motion on that will approve the amount of work already been done in the amount of $10,648.95.
I'll make the motion to approve the work that has already been done in the amount of $10,648.95. Can't we just round it up to $49?
No. I'll second. All those in favor? Aye. Sean?
Of course.
Okay. So finally, 9.9, discussion possible action regarding use of impact fees for Measure J expenditures.
Yeah, so last year during the bond budget process, the board approved the use of impact fees to fill the gap that was left in the Measure J bond project by the grants that we had been approved for and then it was rescinded. It was about $1.4 million. We've moved some of those funds already, but we are coming back to request an additional $600,000 be moved from impact fees into the bond fund while pending our receipt of the Omnibera funds. And so it would be a reimbursement once we receive those funds, but we want to have your approval before we move that money.
Right, somebody have any questions?
Sounds like a good plan.
I agree. Somebody want to make a motion?
Yeah, sure. I'll move, item 9.9, the actual use of impact fees, for, Measure J expenditures.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Great. So,
Okay. I'm
You're
going to
cute, huh?
sneak out.
Okay.
I'm going to go out like this. Float my way out. All right.
thank you.
It's been a pleasure. And I'll see you around town.
Sure.
Right.
Better.
Thank you for the resolution. Mike, I'll see you tomorrow night. Yes. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for all the help. Time. Can't go that way. I'm all into the TV. Just make the rounds.
Okay, so, Director Tamani, anything from you?
I do not have anything.
The only thing I have, and I wonder, Mike, if this is a foundation. If these types of things that I'm gonna say are more of a foundation aspect of what I'm gonna say next, tell me, or if not, but, And I will say, Ms. Williams made a great suggestion, and it's something that I had already thought about. I would really like to see a Christmas market. I think of more of a Christmas market type vibe slash Christmas, you know, what say, Christmas, craft fair. But more in the idea of like a fun little like, you know, Christmas market, European Christmas market. I think that would do so well in the village in December. If it's a 2 weekend thing, a 1 weekend thing, I really think that would be amazing. And I do like the idea of doing some sort of a wine and art event as well in there. I mean, we can easily rope stuff off. You have the lights. I think it can be a really cool event. And I think people would absolutely, you know, pay entrance or go, all of that. So.
Yeah, thank you. We have discussed similar ideas. I know the Jen's been investigating it and we're trying to figure out how to accommodate something like that. Within that space we have. So
Is that something that the foundation that be a foundation?
That could be, it very well could be. And so I think we're looking for opportunities for the foundation to raise their funds that
Right.
can support us. And so it is a possibility that something like that could happen. We are gonna do an event coming up. I know Recreation, Arts and Entertainment, I've been working on one. I won't discuss it at this moment because I'm not sure where we're at with it. But they're working on one right now that would be a benefit for the foundation as well.
Okay.
We mentioned the foundation meeting, so the building gas.
Building can look like it.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
really a lot of fun.
So,
Really
we're in that same vein as you're talking about.
Because I mean, I just think we have such amazing spaces and the outside aspects
Yeah,
of it,
yeah.
and to do these cool things. I know the community will get so behind
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and it is in the AMS report as well, as utilizing those spaces for things like that. And as we continue to grow, those things will start coming into place. But it's a process.
Another thing I haven't noticed, and maybe it's been there, maybe it hasn't, or maybe I've done, I don't know. But have we been doing any yoga in the park? Offering them? Because again, that space to me is so good for that, or the outside band shell. And I was just thinking, you know, there's every age group and everyone likes yoga. I like taking yoga. I'd love to come here on a Saturday morning and do a 9:30, 10 a.m. class. And then as well for younger people, a HIIT class, an outdoor, you know, thing. That would be, I think,
Yeah.
such a great idea that I would happily pay for, and I think could be really great ideas. So
We have been approached by Kaya Fit Arrow in my email, about doing a yoga, event day in the Paw Park. So we'll be, getting back with her, finding out what other, ideas she has for that.
okay, that's all.
I know we have some renegades in there doing it already.
Yeah.
I've seen them.
Well, that's it for me. So, staff, Jen.
I did want to talk a little bit about the process for filling John's seat.
Yes.
We're going to need to, advertise for that pretty soon. I'm hoping to maybe get that out even this week. And I'll touch base with you about where and when we're gonna advertise that and kind of what you want as
Great.
far as what people will need to, do.
Great.
Okay. That's it.
Do we have a date that we would like to fill that seat?
Well, you'll need to fill it within 60 days.
6 days.
And you'll have to appoint at a board meeting, and your August board meeting falls outside of the 60 days, so it's going to need to be at your July meeting, or you'll have to do a special meeting.
And I probably anticipate that we'll have a special meeting.
Okay.
I mean, I know you got a point. I mean, I remember there were special meetings, you know, we just had to.
Yeah, okay.
So we can discuss the framework around that, but yes, so 60 days starts
Today,
now.
yep.
Okay. That's good to know. Okay.
That is it for me.
I was gonna say, when the Village Park opened like 6 months ago, I forgot when. So this guy did media interviews. And so, you know, whether it's yoga or some art and wine thing or a Christmas festival, you know, getting that media contact, I think was awesome. Like, I saw him on PCRA.
Anyone else? Any?
Recreation manager. Just want to highlight a few things in the recreation department, over the last month. We had a Lake Natoma Trail run, earlier in this month. And we increased our number of registered runners by 100 this year. That was pretty significant. Obviously we have a great trail and a great event, but I think also the name change helped as well. It used to be Mississippi Bar Trail Run. I think like Tacoma Trail Run had a little bit more notoriety in the area that helped to increase those numbers. So looking forward to building on that momentum and increasing that number even more next year. Concert in the Park, Return to the Village this past Thursday. Had a great turnout, and people were super excited to have the concerts back in the village, because that's all we heard during the closure was they wanted the concerts back. So we had a great concert, and then we have our next one next Thursday. It'll be the Moonlight Swing Band here in the village. And then our summer camp, Camp Fair Oaks, so started this past Monday. And happy to say 6 of the 8 weeks are 50 full right now, and that's pretty common to not have the 2 of the weeks not full. It's the shortened week of 4th of July and our final week, but the numbers are still pretty good for those weeks as well. So now the kids are having fun, and Mary's been doing a good job getting that thing up and running for the summer. So, like that.
Awesome. Thanks, dude. Jen, do you have anything?
Oh, I have a few updates. This last weekend, we had She's for the Park out here. All 3 nights were really well attended, over 300 first 2 nights and over 400 for the last night. So, really quite exciting. The group loved it. It seemed like there were a lot of people local too. This group gives the families and the same pull from all over the area, but we had a lot of local Fair Oaks families out there, so that's really nice. Almost every weekend we're doing shows in the amphitheater. They've all been selling really well, over 60 to 75% capacity, almost every single show. This tomorrow night, we have our first movie night in there, and we'll have 200 people, which I was not expecting to have for a movie. We're playing Jurassic Park, so sound will be very cool in there on that giant screen. So really excited, shows every single weekend coming up here for the rest of the summer, and we'll keep seeing those numbers right there. So a lot of really good feedback. Cool. That's all I think.
Mike?
Yeah, I just got notice today that we did receive funds from the transportation occupancy tax from Sacramento County. We did put an application in to the foundation for just over $16,000. That was our pie in the sky request. We knew that we were going to probably get reduced. And we've got our standard reduction that when we've asked for money to $5,000, which is great. That's wonderful, and I'm happy to receive that. That is for a permanent Christmas decoration that we'll be putting up annually and adding like the tree. It'll add to that Christmas feel. It may be a photo type of booth or something, who knows? But that will fund that for the permanent. So it'll be kind of a fun addition for our Christmas holiday celebrations.
So we don't know what it's gonna be. I mean,
we put together a proposal with showing what it could be. And so we have the freedom it has to be obviously a holiday decoration, and it has to be permanent, and it has to be in the park. Those are the restrictions.
Is that gonna come to us to make that decision?
Generally, that's an operational choice. We could definitely bring it in forward.
It would be good for the board, I mean.
But for you all to weigh in on colors of paint and everything.
No, it's not colors of
It
paint.
gets to be odd, and challenging to move forward, as we continue to, but if you'd like, I'm sure, Aaron will be happy to bring that forward.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not asking about colors of paint. I don't, but you haven't said what the stuff is, so.
Yeah, I said maybe a photo booth, there may be, wreaths on the
colors.
wreaths on the light poles, who knows, banners.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. It'd be nice, I think, for the board to have a direction on what the board would like to see in the parks as far as something that's the main step. Like that, so I would, Aaron,
Sure.
like to see that.
And then, as John, this is my last board meeting. I have never missed a board meeting, just want you to know that. I have participated only one remotely, except for during COVID. Of course, we participated all remotely then. But it's been a pleasure serving the board. And surprisingly, I'm gonna miss it.
We're gonna miss
We're gonna miss
too.
you, absolutely. Thank you for 10 amazing years, nearly 10 amazing years. 9, close. That's how amazing it
It only felt like 12.
No, I mean, Mike, obviously, you saw us through the whole Measure J project, and that project was unbelievable. I mean, it was in the entirety of my tenure that I've been on. Has been Measure J. And thank you for your leadership in steering it and for seeing it to fruition with us. We're so grateful. Thank you. Okay, well, I guess with that, oh, Aaron, did you want to say anything? I'm sorry.
No, it's not my time.
Okay,
Leave it there.
well, great. With that, then.
I'll make a motion to adjourn to our next regular board meeting of July 15th, 2026.
Great, I'll second, moved and seconded.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.